Hello and welcome back to Scholastically Natalie, where we talk about books, reading, writing, and D&D, and sometimes a few other things. I'm still not entirely sure what we're doing in this video yet. I have it open to the Unrelenting Dawn, where maybe I can finally make some more progress on writing some dragons destroying a city, but if that doesn't work out, we'll probably just switch over to prepping for D&D. Sound like a plan? Today is powered by zero sugar Powerade fruit punch, which I actually think I like the flavor of more than the fully sugared fruit punch. Although now I can't remember if that is actually what the old one was. I'm drinking it because even though I think I already told you this, I'll just repeat it. I need electrolytes. My legs cramp really easily. They always have. And I do not like waking up to then being in excruciating pain once I move my legs. So far, I've been productive today. I was adventurous enough to finally use my apartment complex's laundry machines, which were actually quite nice, even though I have to pay about $7 to do an entire load of my usual laundry, which sucks because I have a whole other load to do. And it's only powered by quarters, which I was also very confused about how to get my hands on those because, what? But I did learn that you can get that from banks. So I might wake up real early tomorrow, wander off to my bank, and get them to give me some. Because if I can get all my laundry done this week, my sister's wedding is this weekend, I'm not going to have time to mess about with a bunch of other stuff. So that would be very nice for me. And I also discovered that 2 of the dryers in our laundry room, out of the 3, they sound like you're murdering something. I turned both of them on and I thought I was going to go deaf. It's like something screaming. It's awful. But, they dry the clothes. So, I think coffee is still helping me be productive, I'm gonna be honest, because I am seeing distinctly less, idiocy? Not idiocy, I'm always slightly idiotic, but I'm seeing a lot less complete and utter, just sleepiness, mind-boggling silliness, that sort of thing. Okay, good. I hadn't clicked out of some comments on here that my friend had left, so I wanted to make sure that you couldn't see them, because as much as I love doxing myself and my friends, I'd like to not do that in this video. Even though there's only 5 of you watching, I'm paranoid, I'm sorry. I did not take my medicine this morning because I was bad and woke up super tired, and then basically I can't eat for an hour after I take my medicine, and every hour that passes after I wake up I become more and more likely to puke or just become non-functioning if I take my medicine, because then I've gone too long without eating, and it's a mess. I'm a mess. I don't know if I can be counted as a fully functioning human being, but I'm doing my best. So. Oh no. I'm also really tired, even though I am thinking about running to Walmart to get some nail polish. And oh no, there was one other thing and I can't remember. Oh, also I have a complaint. I bought milk from Aldi's, and I don't get their normal gallon jugs because their lids are evil, and they always keep so much dried milk around the edges that it bugs me pouring it. Anyways, I usually get their half gallons, and I tried to use them yesterday after I bought them on Saturday, and they were chunky at the top. It was gross. And then I had to, because I was working, I was like, well, I'm trying to make things that involve milk. This is a little awkward. I had to do Myra's grocery delivery, which was quite nice. The person was very nice. So that was a positive experience, at least. So, let's move on to what I actually need to do with my time in this place. You can tell that the coffee hasn't fully made me productive today. I was hoping that it would be a holdover from last week, but I can see that it was just a dream. So, here we stand at Khazadar the Convergence. In case you forgot, this is kind of my culmination of the Unrelenting Dawn story, which I know we have not seen in a hot while, because my motivation for writing things is incredibly low. And so here we have Dawn, who has been transformed into a dragonborn through the powers of a god in order to take her revenge upon the dwarves who slaughtered her temple. And here we have the images of her revenge. I'm actually quite happy with the writing in this, but I need to add more onto it, and that's just been real hard for me lately, guys. That really does taste good, though. It's more strawberry than fruit punch. Like artificial strawberry. Kaiden hadn't thought to grab his breakfast before he left this morning for work. Usually, he made it the night before, wrapping the bread and its contents in fabric to slip into his pocket and consume it once he arrived at the tavern. While it wasn't a glorious career that further enhanced his family's standing, it paid well. The tavern was located in the middle tier of Khazadar, right next to the thoroughfare and the barracks for the army. They welcomed a steady stream of patrons each day and held an extremely rushed few hours after the soldiers finished training. However, the lack of breakfast meant a lack of fuel for the beginning of the day, where they'd bake bread and prepare all the fresh ingredients from the local fields. Kine would be going hungry until they broke for lunch. He hurried down the street, dodging the other dwarves that were heading to their morning shifts, nodding to the soldiers he passed on their morning patrols. All of them were regular attendees of the tavern. He knew most of them by name. Exchanging a smile with the owner of the tailors on the corner, Kine turned into an alleyway, a shortcut that let him cut across and behind the main cobblestone street. This shortcut was his favorite, as it offered him a nice view of the top tier of Khazadar, the palace looming over the rest of the city, its domed roof making an interesting shadow fall across it. Once the sun had moved higher into the sky, the stained glass that formed the dome reflected rainbows all over the city, filling it with 1,000 dancing lights. This early in the morning, the sun reflected only a few strips of color as it barely peeked out from the clouds. Kine sighed, pausing in his trek down the alley as the sky began to grow dark, clouds swirling into a dark mass suspended as far as his eyes could see along the horizon. He didn't feel any rain as the clouds swirled tighter, not even the hint of water in the air. Instead, all he could feel was a sort of building electricity, faint crackling echoing between metal and flesh as swords, door handles, and clasps met their owner's skin. The sharp tang of ozone that Kine had barely noticed this morning grew stronger until he was choking on the sweet scent, one that burned his nostrils and clung to the back of his throat. He coughed, doubling over in the alley, and by the time he straightened back up, the sky had darkened to the depths of midnight. The only light was from the lightning crashing through the clouds above, illuminating the city every few seconds. Kine couldn't help but stare up at the palace, where the bright flashes reflected off the glass roof, blinding in their intensity. He blinked to clear the white spots from his eyes, halos outlining the towering buildings around him. The clouds roiled, swirling dangerously in a spiral, a large hole opening in the center. Sparks of electricity surged across the gap before coalescing into a massive strike of lightning that thundered onto the palace. With a resounding crash, the palace exploded, shards of glass and masonry propelled through the air, breaking the buildings surrounding him. Emerging from the crater that was once the palace was a towering shape, one that crackled, sparks of lightning flowing over the four-legged form. Kine froze, unable to move, as the beast the size of the palace shifted, masonry and glass cracking and crunching under its great weight, towering wings rising from its body. The serpentine neck stretched towards the swirling clouds, thick horns stretching back over its head, gossamer spines that seemed more translucent fin than sturdy keratin, allowed the light of the electricity through. The hulking beast seemed to be the center of the storm, sparks eternally raining from its body, lightning flowing over its still form. The jaw opened, alarmingly large teeth glinting as it roared. The sound echoed over the city, a vicious sound that stopped everything in its tracks, a sound akin to that of a thunderstorm. Kine was frozen, the sound rattling his bones, as more and more lightning struck down, collapsing buildings, decimating houses and shops and stables. From those stricken, destroyed places, wooden structures ablaze, half-broken, rose more dragons. None were as large as the first, though some approached that gargantuan size. Answering roars called back from throughout the city, a great groaning reminiscent of stone grinding upon stone. And this is where I kind of could use a thinking out loud kind of writing session. I already bothered my one friend about it when she came over the other day. And then I forgot everything I said to her because my brain is bad at remembering things. So, what I was looking at and what I was thinking about was more of how to... it's an action scene. People are going to be fleeing the city, obviously, but also this is just going to be mass destruction, and that kind of thing is a little hard to rate. So I think that's going to be the hard part, because I've established the threat. The threat is here. And I'm not sure how I want to write it stylistically, because we could do in between flashes of lightning, different things are illuminated, because this is all taking place under a storm, which I think would be, it's just great atmospherically. And I think we're gonna start with cries of alarm. Started to wail. Great bells on the surviving watchtowers, tolling the command to flee, the command to evacuate the city in the face of a great calamity. I am calling this a calamity, if I can spell it correctly. My fingers are betraying me. Maybe not wail. Cries of alarm rose, as if in answer. Screams drowned out by the great bells on the surviving watchtower. There tolls a command to evacuate the city. There, I think that makes a lot more sense. Sounds a bit more coherent. Everyone all around him, Kine could hear screams and wails, pain from those trapped in broken buildings, fear from those face to face with beasts of legend. Dragon cries echoed as well. Intimidating growls and roars as they face down those brave enough to stand against them, or chase down those enough? Why those? Why is enough to flee? Kind felt as though he had been turned to stone by a particularly nasty wizard. He couldn't look away. From the palace's dragon. It hadn't moved yet, still seeming to survey the destruction that had just begun throughout the city. A small figure moved, climbing the stairs that jutted above the wall, up the hill to the palace. Three or four heavily robed figures, some supported by staffs, others armored. Got halfway up. He couldn't hear, but he could see. Could see the magic. As if the party was surrounded by fireflies. The dragon hadn't noticed them yet. As one, the robed figures raised their hands and let loose a massive magic circle that encompassed the dragon. A feat of magic that Kine had only heard tales of. Another blinding flash overtook his vision. This one was green. Well, actually, no, I want to see what color. What color is Banishment D&D 5e? Let's see, is it a color? Let's see, it's charisma. So maybe we'll go with blue. groaned, grit his teeth, and turned his back. He didn't think he wanted to see the rest, and watching further might blind him. He needed to get his wits about him if he wanted to leave alive. The dragons certainly didn't seem to be picky about who they were harming. I just don't know what to do with Dawn. This is the hard part. Like, I want her there because she needs to get her revenge. But I don't know. I don't know if I actually want her to have that. Because I feel like if Dawn kills the dwarf she's been looking for, or feels that she has sufficiently got her revenge, I do love the idea of Ronan just being like, I think I'm gonna keep you for a bit longer. I think that's perfect, because again, I am loving getting to explore having a nasty god. Because, yeah, we have nasty gods, but not to the point that they're usually the way that I'm having this one be. And I think that's fun. Or at least not that I've read. I don't want to be like, ooh, this is my, I'm so original. But I do want to do something that's not stereotypical for gods. Most of the time, they're more like people, and while I did do that in my original campaign, I love the idea of them being like these aspects, and I think that can be so much fun. So I just don't know if I want to give her the opportunity to take bloody, brutal revenge. And I also am not really sure how to get there, but I am thinking that I can have Kine flee towards the barracks. Oh, I need to write this down. Okay, so Kine flees to barracks, gets absorbed into a squad that is to escort him to secure bunker, gets to secure bunker with important officials who were forewarned by mages, clerics, that something was coming. And then Dawn breaks in to kill, I'm pretty sure I named him Tyr, but I'm not sure. Tyr, Gold Sword Dwarf. I can't remember what I named him, I'll have to look. Dawn breaks in to kill Tyr, kills pretty much everyone in the process. Spares Kine, doesn't spare Kine. Because I both like the idea of having Kine die, because then we could switch to Dawn's point of view. Okay, so we have spare Kine describes Dawn torturing Gold Dwarf gives us a great view on how far she's fallen from an outside perspective. Doesn't. Dawn's emotional perspective of brutally torturing Gold Dwarf. And I'm not sure what I want. And that is the hard part, because I, for the longest time, couldn't think of an end to Dawn's story anyways. I read it for a fiction class, and they were like, but what's the ending? And I was like, I don't know. And then I only knew because I had it happen in my D&D campaign that I got to do. And then I realized that I wanted to blow up half the country. Although in this case it doesn't mean half the continent's missing, it means half the continent is deeply damaged and you can't live in it. Nothing can live there. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to describe all the destruction that I want to happen, because this land is about to become hella cursed, cause random. But I'm not sure how to accomplish all of that. And I am swiftly running out of any creative ability at this moment. I'm sorry, guys. My brain is slow today. But also thank you, because you let me just yammer on, and I finally figured out what I want to do with this end part. So, thank you. And now at the end of my video, I realized that I've neglected to turn off my AC. So this video is probably going to sound pretty bad. Thank you for making it through, if you watched it despite my AC very noisily going in the back. And I completely understand if you don't make it this far, because who wants to listen to a small engine jet take off in the background? I'm going to try to see if I can find a way to reduce it, but so far, because they're all, everything including this and my AC is like in the same audio file, I don't really know how to manipulate it enough that the background noise is like gone. I'll try Googling it, but I also don't want to damage it, and I can't really separate it from this. It's very complicated. But I hope you were mildly entertained by this video. I will try to pre-record some for the end of this week, because I will be very busy. Don't count on that though, because you know that I'm an unreliable human, but I will do my best. And with that, Scholastically Natalie is out.